day. My name is Lateesha Saleh, and I am here with LS Vedic Astrology. Today, I want to talk to you about sidereal astrology as it relates to some of the unique features of it that are not seen in Western astrology. One of the things that's unique about Vedic astrology is that there is this emphasis on the nakshatra system. The nakshatras, there are 27 nakshatras within the Vedic system. And the nakshatras represent a very intimate and deep part of the individual placements of the chart. So what we will see, for instance, within the sign of Aries, we know Aries. So we know that Aries is ruled by Mars. We know that Aries is a very fiery sign. We understand that as a part of Aries, there's an impulsivity. We know that it's first. We've heard so many times that Aries is the baby of the Zodiac. These are words that are characteristics of Aries that are commonly said, especially in Western astrology. But what we fail to see is that there is this deeper, deeper piece of the puzzle that is often missing as it relates to understanding the very depths of Aries. The nakshatras are lunar mansions. You've heard the term lunar mansion. So these are specific, more in depth star systems that lie within each zodiac sign. So the three nakshatras that lie within Aries are Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika. So these three unique nakshatras that are within Aries give a deeper flavor to the sign, to the characteristics, to a personality, to life's experiences for an individual who's born with placements in Aries. So, for instance, Ashwini is the first nakshatra within Aries, and it is the first of the 27 nakshatras. We know that we understand that not only is Aries ruled by Mars, but when we talk about an individual who has their ascendant or what is called lugna in sidereal astrology, or their moon placement within Ashwini, this individual has an energy not only of Mars, but also of Ketu, because Ketu rules the nakshatra Ashwini. So that is something that takes it that much deeper. So even further, even more to Ashwini within the 0 to 13 degrees of Aries, these individuals will have healing associated with them. This is what's associated with the nakshatra Ashwini. Healing physicians or those who are interested in seeing healing happen for other people. So they could be a medical doctor or a person who is involved with healing of the mind or healing of the spirit or working with herbs or meeting people where they are in such a way that they want to see them healed. So you could see this in an individual who has prominent placements within that 0 to 13 degrees of Aries. Then when we move forward to the second nakshatra, that nakshatra is Bharani. And so when you see me looking down, I'm looking at some notes that I have here. So Bharani, I want to give you the exact degrees of Bharani. So Bharani within Aries is from 13 degrees and 20 seconds to 26 degrees 40 minutes. So 13 degrees, 20 minutes to 26 degrees, 40 minutes. So people who are born between those degrees will be born with an ascendant or moon or other planets, significant planets. Within that degree, they will be born within the nakshatra of Bharani. So we have Mars energy because Mars rules Aries, but we also have infused within this the energy of Venus because Venus is the planetary ruler of the nakshatra Bharani. So people who are born with the bodily energy are people who are not only creating something, but they are the bridge because that bodily is a nakshatra that is between the first one and the last nakshatra. In Aries, yes, these people are um, they are have that impulsivity, they are starting things, but the nakshatra of botany is more so um, tied to beginnings and endings. There is a lot of transition and transformation that these individuals will see. The symbol of the nakshatra botany is the female yoni or the vagina. So the vagina is there to give birth. It is there to um, hold the womb. The female womb is there to hold life and to restrict and to keep things within certain boundaries so that they can grow. So these are things that you will see within the individuals of botany. And botany is a nakshatra that is ruled by the deity Yama, which is the Lord of Death. And so when we talk about botany, it is a nakshatra that has a lot of extremes. These people experience a lot of extremes within their life, a lot of things, quick beginnings and quick endings, and things that they thought they would be able to hold on to quickly taken away. But they are also people, because of this Venusian energy that is there, that are about beauty and about a gentleness, about creativity. These are people who can sing and people who can dance and people who can express themselves in a very creative way, a life-giving way. And one that can cut and move on. Because when we think about Mars, we're thinking about a cutting energy. Just like when we talked about Ashwini being associated with Ketu. Ketu is one that can distance itself, that can be here 1 minute and move on the next. And that is also a Martian energy. So Mars cuts, Mars separates. Mars not only is a warrior, but is one that can quickly move on. There is a heat that is associated with Aries and all of the nakshatras and the placements. There's a heat and anger, a fire that bursts up quickly, but it also will dissipate quickly. So within Aries, there is a quick fire, but the fire doesn't last long. So you'll often hear that Aries will start something, but it won't complete it. And so that is something that we see with Ashwini, with the nakshatra Ashwini, where things are started, but they're not seen through all the way to the end. There's the impulsivity. And then wanting to move on because of the energy of Mars and Ketu that are very prominent there. Then when we look at botany, and then for Ashwini, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I'm just talking and I'm just sharing my thoughts. I hope you can follow along with me because this is where I flow the best, where I'm just free to flow and just think things through and just share my thoughts. So when we think about Ashwini, going back to that first nakshatra, the symbol for it is the horse. So the horse, if you imagine a horse wants to be free. It's difficult for horses to be tamed. They can tame them, but they don't want to be tamed. They want to be free to go, to travel, to see the world, to do all the things. So that is something that we see in with this energy of Ashwini. And so there is that Ketu energy, the symbol of the horse. Mars is there. So there is this desire to be free. So there's a freedom loving, a freedom desiring. Also, again, a healer. So when you think about that traveling nurse, that traveling doctor, right? So here's the travel, here's the healing. This is a way that you can think of Ashwini practically. Botany, when you are thinking about that singer, or you are thinking about that person again that is dancing, that is creating, but creating something that often has to be left behind. So you created it, you gave it, and you walk away from it. A desire to hold on to things. Again, we're thinking about the womb, right? The womb, talking about botany, thinking about the womb and thinking about that holding on, how that mother, the womb is holding on to that baby for 9 months, protecting, shielding, restricting that baby from having too much movement because it is in a growth process. These are things that are seen with botany. You know, there are specific nutrients that have to go into that baby, that DNA, the chromosomes, everything has to be specific and very intentional for that baby to be, to have its toes and its fingers and the lungs like they need to be, and all of the body parts, the organs, the brain, the breath, everything needs to be just so for that baby. So when a woman is pregnant, she's not drinking. It's ill advised, right, for her to drink and smoke, take in these things, eat certain things, take certain even over the counter medications, because it can have a negative effect on that growing fetus. So when you think about botany, you think about certain restrictions that are placed on an individual who has this lugna, or rising or ascendant sign, or moon, or significant placements. It's a certain way that they need to be, to act, to behave. There are certain restrictions that they are not allowed by the universe, by the Most High, to move into certain things they cannot partake of, because of the requirement for these individuals. Their karmic load, that they've come here with, that it is required of them to live in a certain way. They, because the deity that rules over botany, Lord Yama, the Lord of Death, he brings justice very quickly to these individuals who were born with botany. So if they are lying, if they are cheating, if they are being, if they are living in such a way unethically where they are hurting others, they will quickly receive justice for this ill behavior, for this behavior that is not aligned with the highest and the best energy. So this is something with botany. So there is a level of restriction that they have on their lives so that they can do what it is that their souls have incarnated to do. And they have to figure it out, what it is. So a person with botany, you will know, you will see, you will have the insight to know and see when you are living in a way it does not feel right, but you think that it's going to get you the results that you want. And in not many days, you will see the results of your behavior. And this is how you know that this is something that you cannot do, that you cannot have in your life. You cannot take on as a way of living and being to receive the best for yourself. Okay. So then the last nakshatra in Aries. Let me get it for you. It's called Kritika. Kritika, but I want to give you the degrees of Kritika, because Kritika does not only sit in the sign of Aries, but it carries over into the sign of Taurus. So Kritika Nakshatra starts at 26 degrees and 40 minutes of Aries and ends at 10 degrees of Taurus. So there is this overflow with Kritika. So Kritika, you can hear it in the name. It's a very critical nature within Kritika. And people who were born with a lagna and a moon or other strong placements or Atmakarka, which is the direction or director of your soul within your chart. Having that in Kritika, you will see these people be very critical. Their nature is one that is very critical, where you will just see them being that person that is often complaining quite a bit, or seeing everything and pointing it out, and it just comes off the tongue in this way. Kritika is ruled by the planet Sun. So not only will you have this energy of Aries Mars, but also the Sun, because Kritika is the planetary ruler for the nakshatra Kritika. So there is a leadership ability that you will see with this nakshatra, people born with this prominent placement of Kritika. It is symbolized by the swords. So that tongue is cutting, it is piercing, it is sharp in Kritika. So when we talk about the energy of the sun, there is an independence to these people. So you have blended in this impulsivity that we see with the sign of Aries, but we also see this leadership energy, this independence, this forwardness that is associated with Kritika. So when we think about the sun as it relates to Aries, the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, meaning that it can focus more so on its individual needs. It can focus on what it wants individually more so than thinking about the collective and what the others need and so forth. So this is something that we see within the sign of Kritika. So Kritika, one of the biggest challenges with Kritika is holding on to those relationships. Why? Because your words and your tongue has so much to do with how you are establishing and maintaining relationships, that when we think about someone who is being extremely critical and seeing all of the more challenging things and all of the negative things within an individual, it makes relationship building very challenging. Very challenging. So, this individual, of course, there's this leadership quality within them. There's the sun energy, which is about leadership. But with the sun, the highest placement of the sun is to be there to serve others, to be there to serve others. So one of the greatest works of one who was born with the nakshatra Kritika prominent is to work on how to use the words in a way that they are building, that they using their tongue, using their mind, using that leadership ability, using that gift of leadership, from the sun in a way that the words are serving others to help them grow, to help them learn, to help them wax on, wax off, but not to break their spirit. Having that balance between words of correction and words of celebration. As in coaching, we'd say, here are some grows and here are some glows. So that is the thing that is needed with one who has strong critical placements to make it work, to make it the very best. Because you were born to be a leader. You were born, you incarnated to be a leader and have strong gifts. The deity, the fire deity, Agni, is the deity that rules Kritika. So when we think about this fire deity, we think about fire. Fire purifies, and fire will purge disease, purge illness. Fire, if we take a piece of metal that may have been contaminated and we put it in the fire, all of the contaminants will be burned away. All of the bacteria will be burned away. Virus will be burned away, and it is purified. And so this is an energy that we find within Kritika. But the wisdom that is needed again is to be able to use those words. I think of this, there's a scripture in the New Testament that talks about the tongue being like fire, and that there were tongues of fire. So that is this thought, permeating thought as it relates to Kritika. But these words need to be laced with wisdom, with kindness, with love, so that they land properly. They land properly. So these are my thoughts that I wanted to share today on Aries and the Nakshatras that are associated with them. And so research this out more for yourself. It's very powerful. It will give you a deeper understanding on yourself and your loved ones. And so when you look up your sidereal chart, you will see oftentimes that the placements that you have in the Western chart are going to be different than the ones that are in the sidereal, because there is a 23-degree difference between the planets. So you may find, even if you have some of the same planets in the same sign, in the Western, you may find that you have a moon in late degree, 29, 27 degrees of Scorpio. And then in the sidereal, that same moon may be in Scorpio, but it'll be 3 or 4 degrees, because there is this difference. With the sidereal, we are looking at the actual placements of the planets and the stars as they are astronomically in the sky. And that is not so with Western. Western is just based on the sun's movement through the sky and what was, what placement of what the sun was. And so it's just maintain that. So they're saying that the sign of Aries begins March 20th and ends in, April 20th. And so it's just set like that every year. But astronomically, that is not the true placements of the planets. And so to get the best results, to understand ourselves more deeply and what it is that we need and who we are, we can really look to Vedic astrology, the sidereal, and get an understanding of who we truly are, what gifts we have, what karmas we have, what challenges we have. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Lateesha Saleh, and I will check in with you guys later. Have a great week.